automotive space, right? There, I would say, as someone in automotive say, they're passing through the 5 C's, which is the COVID, the container crisis, the commodity prices, the chip shortage, and now the conflict. And I was reading somewhere that the total production capacity of automotive industry is almost 37 million. If I take the passenger cars, commercial vehicles, scooters, and so on and so forth, whereas they have produced only 29 million last year. So there's a drop in demand as far as automotive is concerned, right? So these are the changes that we are seeing in terms of demand. In terms of industrial selling, because that's the topic that we're going to discuss, as one of the models that we had, where we did successfully over the years, was customer intimacy. Our motto is that we should know the customer's process maybe better than the customer, because then only we can provide solutions to customers. That in the last, say, 18 months or 2 years, because of the COVID, has been a challenge, because we are not able to freely go and visit a customer's plant, and the virtually doesn't happen so well because of the bandwidth issues. So these are the challenges that we are facing if you see a span of last 18 to 24 months. Specifically for critical areas, which is maybe critical to finish of a car or performance of a car, they have still not yet compromised on the cost. But in areas where they could, for example, the plastic, for example, the rubber, those are the areas where they would be willing to go for cheaper or rather I would say less expensive alternatives. But that is definitely happening.
As an organization, because of higher value of inventory, and also we see a challenge of pushing the cost to the customers, and that's where we are realizing the pressure on the spread and more so on the margin percentage. So that's one big change that we are seeing. Second is the disruption in supply chain. I mean, more so because of high volatility and also the recent pandemic. There is a huge pressure in terms of the customer maintaining lower inventory, and from the organization side also not really getting into longer commitment in price because of this spikes in prices that are happening more so in steel. The value driver from just in time is moving on to just in case, and increasingly the customers are demanding for just in case deliveries, and that's the shift that we are witnessing. And the third point I would like to emphasize is high attrition. I mean, both at an organization level and also at the customer level, it's really putting us questioning the challenges in terms of the relationship management, right? And at an organization level, because of the high attrition, the sales competency is declining, and there is a need for the organizers to really look at building those skill sets, not periodically, but on a regular basis.
We come across a variety of industries, variety of customers. And adding to what my two predecessors said, I mean, we of course see a severe price challenge, severe cost challenge, and many of the customers are finding it difficult to recover that cost from the market, although the demand is very high. Now that's something we all know we are talking about. But I would like to draw a point to the other one, where in our industry, we see a very strong propensity to upgrade performances. So earlier, if the equipment manufacturers were talking about a 2-year warranty, today they're talking about a 5-year warranty. If earlier they were talking about a 20,000 kilometer life, today they're talking about a 40,000 kilometer life, or be what it is. And I think this in the long run is the benefit that we are looking for, because price challenges are there. We have to handle it. We cannot run away from it. But really what drives companies like us is when we are able to sell value through higher performance. We also see the tech gap between world leaders and the local players reducing in some places. And that again gives us the opportunity to be able to upgrade the performance, which most of our customers are looking for. So I think in the long run, this is what is good for the Indian customers. This is what is good for the Indian industry. I see a couple of reasons in our industry. Number one, we are no more a closed domestic market. We are also exporting. So as our exports go up, you're not competing with the ABCs of India, but you're competing with the XYZs of the world. So it demands a better performance. That's one. Second is, if you look at a very basic industry like the tractor industry, and if you look at the quality journey over the last 15, 20 years, it's progressed tremendously. And that's because the customers are more demanding. They don't want a tractor, which tractor is no more a machine for plowing the field, but it is actually a livelihood machine. So they don't want failures. They are becoming demanding. And the way cars used to be compared earlier, today tractors are being compared on that path. So it's actually the demand of the end user that is pushing investments by the manufacturers and therefore increasing the performance and reducing the cost of ownership. These are two very strong drivers that I see.
Business of PPE is personal protective equipment, right? So our core strength is in hand gloves. For decades, our tagline is protecting the working hands of the world. So that's been our business. So during COVID, absolutely, we had a tough time managing all the supply chain disruptions, but there was an increasing demand for gloves and masks that we offered. But managing the supply chain was really a challenge with all the disruptions. Things were getting expensive, but we had to stock and serve. And we did that quite well during that period. But post-COVID, of course, the commodity price increase, everything is clear. We had high cost of inventories and the prices started coming down. For example, just to give you Indian government encouraged many people to establish mask production facility, the basic masks that the civilians can wear. And they just dished out licenses. And we're testing. And of course, this wasn't encouraging quality, but at least it was giving the public something to put on, right? And this is virtually post-COVID. There is too much supply vis-a-vis demand. And that is something we have to face with the customers, right? There are dime a dozen. There is no apple-to-apple comparison. There is no benchmark on quality or standards, but just the unit price. Given that commodity prices are high, the direct materials that gets into the end customers' products, there is no control which is dictated by the global market. The focus is so intensely on indirect consumables, which is the PPEs and rest. And generally, there is a tendency to compromise because it's the easier way to squeeze some cost out of the equation. And that's the challenge we have to face and race against with most customers. So there are more people out of this opportunity who have entered, who are low price is the only key. And I also notice with the customers, especially on commodities, that the customer loyalty is eroding. They are not married to a product or a company, right? However, on the positive side, there is improving awareness on quality and value versus price. So they would like to, some customers, select customers, definitely are seeing the value. What is the overall value they get out of it vis-a-vis price? And the choices to them are also improving. There are more premium producers coming into the market, increasing their presence, which is a positive sign for our industry. And few select companies are going one step higher compared to seeking much more than a direct utility of the product, including sustainability, impact on environment, carbon neutrality, water neutrality,